The Dodgers get Cavan Biggio? I think that's a pull. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Prairie Avenue. My name is Alonzo Rivera, and it's really nice being all the way back. The Dodgers got Cavan Biggio in a really weird June 12th trade, but we're here, we're finally back, and we're really excited to just start a new damn episode because of how inconsistent we've been. But now we're back to the weekly, every Wednesday, just trying to get back into that format. But nice to be back. It feels weird. Had a long weekend, to be honest. I just really wasn't home at all, and I wasn't able to work on anything. And, just trying to focus on my new internship with LA Force. It's kind of been like trying to balance it all, but either way, I mean, it's cool like that I could still just come and have some time on a Wednesday or Thursday to kind of just release my guts and, talk about everything that I want to talk about personally. And yeah, it's been really fucking cool. This is like insane what's been happening for both Dodgers and the Angels right now in Los Angeles. It's a lot of question marks. I think even for the Dodgers, it's like a shit ton of question marks. I mean, just take the example that we got Cavan Biggio, and we already know if you do follow baseball, he was designated for assignment, which basically means you're removed from the 40-man roster. You're not wanted to be on a MLB squad, and he was recently DFA'd, and I think to ensure that the Dodgers were able to pick him up, they decided to acquire him in a trade. I'm a little confused by it. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, the Dodgers get Cavan Biggio, and let's just hop right in just in that format. It's crazy. There's just no way. Like I was so shocked when I saw this. I mean, I was at work, and originally, actually, I didn't even notice until I actually just Googled the Dodgers. And because I wanted to make sure what time the game was on, which right now we're actually down 3-1. But it's kind of funny because, I was like, oh, shit, Cavan Biggio. And then I was like, and then I wouldn't say a household name, but if you're a Blue Jays fan, you know that name pretty well. But you should also know his last name. His dad, I believe, I forgot his name. Gary Biggio. I got to remember his dad's name. But basically, his dad is a certified Hall of Famer. I think he was like on the third ballot, all for the Astros. He played his entire career with the Astros. I believe it was 1988 to 2007. So kind of quote me on that. I think it was 19 years that his dad played in the majors. So, he had a pretty big last name coming into it. And then, he went to the Blue Jays, came up in 2019. And has just kind of been a utility guy. He's not going to be, anything more than that. He hasn't had much going for him. I think he had like one good year. But the Dodgers ended up getting Cavan Biggio, and they traded him away for a relief pitcher, and I believe is Brandon something. I honestly thought it was Braden Fisk from the Rams. I started tripping out. But let me get that fucking source actually really correct, because I should remember that name immediately, but I don't know why. I'm blanking. I know it's like Brandon something, but gotta get that whole thing on right now. Let's see. Seems like it's not even coming up, man. Tell me. Oh, Braden Fisher. You see? Braden Fisher. Okay, Braden Fisher is who was sent over. I guess he split time between the AA and AAA of the Dodgers. We ended up sending him over to the Blue Jays, and obviously then we got Cavan Biggio back. I guess, Braden Fisher, he was only doing like a 5-year ERA starter, so wasn't doing so great, but I guess just the Blue Jays would just take whatever they can get at this point. So, they decided just to get a nice little prospect that probably might come up as a relief guy one day. Who knows? But point is, we get Cavan Biggio. What does that mean for the Dodgers? And I think this leads up to the whole questions of should the Dodgers really be better, which is going to be our first topic for today. It kind of comes at you like, well, I knew that he was a great utility player, but the first thing that came into my head was like, dude, we really need him. Is he what we needed? And I, look at his numbers. He hasn't had a really solid year And unless you count 2020, where he nearly played all the games, hit 250, 375 on base percentage, 807 OPS, 28 RBIs, 8 homers, total of 55 hits, and 265 plate appearances. Like, I'm looking at it, I'm just like, eh. I mean, 807 OPS is great, but no one's going to count that because it's the 2020 year, and that's the COVID year. And then after that, I mean, it's just inconsistent. 79 games, 97 games, all those 2 years, 21 and 22, under 700 OPS. Going to 2023, he played finally over 100 games and 111, barely made it over 700 OPS. And then once again, just struggling. I mean, this year hitting 200, on base percentage of 323, 614 OPS, not at all, I would say great, but I mean, I guess I don't know what the Dodgers are cooking up. I trust the organization. I think this is gonna kind of lead into my way, because I wanted to talk about this because I'm at work. I'm at, talking about it with friends, and a lot of them assume that I know a lot about the Dodgers, and they, kind of want to know, like, hey, what's in, what's new, what should I be looking out for? And there's a lot of questions, and I do think the Dodgers should be better. I'm very optimistic when it comes to talking to other people, like, oh yeah, we should have won that series, but it's okay. And, we win against the Yankees, and that's exactly what we needed. A bunch of primetime games. Can we show up? But the reality is that Mookie and Freddie and Shohei weren't the stars of game number 1. It was Teoscar Hernandez, and it was the pitching. Game 2 was also Teoscar. Like, it was more of the bottom of the lineup guys where we didn't really see Shohei or, anybody really else pop off, like Freddie or Mookie, even Will. Will actually kind of had his moments here and there too. So it was like, we have these moments where we're so good and then we're like so off. And I could remember when we played the Nats and the Mets at home and we got like demolished, losing those 2 series. I'm like, what the, what just happened? How are we losing 2 back-to-back series against 2 teams who arguably aren't going to be at all playoff contenders this year? And then you go and you play against San Diego and you end up losing that series. There's just a lot of question marks throughout the year where I felt like we were just trying to prove to ourselves as Dodger fans, let alone even the Dodgers team, that, like, are we really going to be this good? We're going to play 600 ball. We're going to be a great team. We're going to be first place in the NL West. We're going to do so many great things. But in reality, is it going to be enough to, when it matters in October, to start playing playoffs? Is this actually going to click? Are we going to pick up the pace? And I think this is kind of where I didn't really like the trade. If I'm being honest with you, I don't really get it. I don't. This all comes after Mookie came out of a press conference and he said that, he feels like he's not 100% at the shortstop level, basically, to sum it up. I like his defensive plays. He's really good with his glove. I just think everyone knows his range isn't there. What we mean by range is, how hard you can throw the ball from a really difficult fielding position. I mean, backhanded, forehanded, you could tell that he kind of stutters or just needs to get that arm accurate. Like, he's not as accurate as you want. He doesn't throw as hard as you want. You see Miggy Rowe, and it's just flawless. You can tell the defense is all there. And Miggy Rowe, that's one thing I want to point out. Miguel Rojas knows his role. He's not a bat. He's someone to go in and play really good defensive baseball in the infield. And that's what he does every single spot. Second, short, third base, he's there, and he does it all perfectly well. And I'm okay with moving Mookie to second and possibly just keeping Miggy over as short for the rest of the season just to get him more comfortable. I mean, why would we want to at least risk it? This is something I also heard from, Chris Rose, and also like reading up on different articles in The Athletic. If Mookie is not 100%, and he makes mistakes throughout once a week, maybe a few times a week, actually, you might see a pass ball that could have probably got in there. You're like, he could have made that play, or he makes a mistake, or it's a bad throw, or, Freddie has to make a difficult picking move to at least get to it. You see it probably once a game, maybe sometimes twice a game coming from Mookie. And the question is if Mookie isn't at 100%, are you going to be riding that into playoffs? Because at playoffs, you can't afford a mistake. You need that difficult play that Miggy could have made. You need Mookie to make that one too. you can't just assume that, oh, well, it's Mookie Betts. Is all right. We'll figure out later. Like, I think right now what Dave Roberts is doing is kind of just, oh yeah, like Mookie will figure it out. Don't worry about it. He'll take his time. Like he'll make the plays. Even if he makes a mistake right now, it's okay. It's just a regular season. And I'm like, hey, we're already about to hit the halfway mark of the regular season. We're about to get to the 80 games. We're about to get to the All-Star game. And now you're saying like it's still okay. I think it's still a little worrisome. Even now we're about to reach the halfway point. And Mookie himself is telling everybody, I don't think I'm doing the best I could possibly do right now at this position. And this is a gold glover from the right field spot. So it's just this really big question mark of like, okay, well, are we going to ride with him? Are we not? And, that happened yesterday. Now you're talking about today in the morning, we're getting news about Cavan Biggio making his way, who came up as a shortstop and now plays short, second, third, all the infield positions and a lot of outfield as well. So there's just this big question mark about Mookie. All of a sudden you bring in Cavan Biggio, and I don't know whether that was supposed to be the, like, oh, here's the golden ticket, here's our response, here's our answers, Cavan Biggio, which I was kind of like, well, what? You have Kike Hernandez, you have Miggy Rowe, Gavin Lux, he's playing decent second base. He's making good plays. I'll give him the credit there. His second base is doing pretty fucking good. Max Muncy is hurt. I understand though. You probably don't want him as your defensive third baseman. 100% understand that, but he's gotten a lot better than he was last year. Always making mistakes. This year, I feel a lot more comfortable with him there at the hot corner. But I mean, I'm like that's a pretty good bunch. And then you had Miguel Vargas who came up again, and you're like, oh shit, like this is, we send down James Outman, we bring up Miguel Vargas. I'm like, hey, I love Miguel Vargas. In 8 games, he hit like 250 with like 8 RBIs and a homer. And I'm like, dude, he did pretty solid. I mean, just in his eight games played, and he was just doing shit for us. I actually went last Sunday, saw him live. Shout out to him. But like, this is, I was like, oh yeah, like I honestly thought we were going to run with this, and I liked it. And I thought possibly, you know what? Let's just move Mookie back to right. We could move Jason over to left. He has some speed on him and a good arm. Even move Mookie to left field. I think he'll be a lot more comfortable there. Keep Andy Pajes over. We can maneuver the outfield. I think that's not a question. I think either wherever you go in the outfield, Mookie's gonna. So here we go. Now we bring in Cavan Biggio. The first thing that came into my mind when I saw this was, okay, well shit. So then who's gonna go down? Right, we already have a whole squad. You're gonna have to add Cavan Biggio to the 40-man. I don't think he went through the full amount of waivers, so I think it's a little choppy where you can't just add him down to the minor league system. So he was still in the 40-man. Now you have to put him on the 40-man roster. I think also veteran status because he's been around for so long. He also signed a 1-year, $2 million. So I think he doesn't even have the option to start down in AAA. Oh, gotta catch my air. Holy shit. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, who's going to go down? Chris Taylor, also, I haven't even mentioned him. He's not doing great for the amount of money that we're paying him. But that's I don't want to get frustrated with Chris because he's such a clutch player. He hits, in the past, he's done so well for us in all of our playoff runs. I'm always super confident, especially during the playoffs, when he goes up there. I don't care how he did in the regular season. When Chris is up there during the playoffs, it's just a different breed. But yeah, right now it's not looking too good for him. So I was like, maybe even Chris might have to get sent down if he does have any options. I don't know how that's gonna work. But if he does, maybe just to go on a rehab assignment, just to get back in the hitting cages and just focus on it again before he can come back up or something. But no, it was Miguel Vargas, who now is officially, I believe, out of options. So the next time he comes up, it's official. He has to stay on the Major League roster. So I'm just like, holy shit, you got to be kidding me. I was kind of upset. I mean, I really wanted Miguel Vargas to stay up there. I liked what we had. But, and then now the even bigger question is who's going to go down once Max Muncy comes back off the injured list. He's had that strain oblique for, I think it was supposed to be only a week thing. It's been almost a month. So it's a little scary, but I just didn't. I still don't understand it. I don't. I get that he has more experience and he's a veteran, but you have Miguel Vargas, who's been a part of the team all of last year. Now you're bringing in Cavan Biggio to do this. I mean, in 44 games this year, just hitting 200 and 614 OPS, 323 on base percentage, 291 slug. That's just not nice. 9 RBIs, like 22 hits and 131 plate appearances is actually insane. Only 2 homers, 4 doubles, 9 RBIs. It's just not nice to look at. I'll be honest with you guys. But I mean, even if we're just looking like at his positioning wise, this year he's played 25 games at second, 4 at third, 5 at first base, 10 at right, 10 in right, and 4 DH and 3 pinch hitting appearances. So I just, yeah, it's not a pretty sight to see. I'm not happy with it whatsoever. I just don't understand it. That's where I'm gonna leave it. I mean, for now, it's my opinion, right? So I'm just like, this could totally backfire on me in like 10 minutes. Cavan Biggio hits a walk-off home run because I believe the Dodgers are still down. It's the bottom of the 8th. Dodgers still down 3-1 against the Rangers, and if we keep it like this, then tomorrow we'll determine who takes the series. But yeah, I mean, it just feels really weird to say that I didn't like a trade. I don't understand it. I want it better. I mean, if we were going to trade guys, you might as well just turn up a package for... I know people are saying Willie Adames, but I don't think that would happen. Just because the Brewers are still in first place right now in the NL Central and you have a chance to make another run, I think what's important to that Brewers organization is just making another playoff run like they always do. And I think you prioritize that than just selling and just being like, we're not going to win this year. It's like, no, you never know. Just make the run. And you have Reese and Willie Adames. That's a nice 1-2. I like that combo. But, I mean, even Bo Bichette, I mean, I get, maybe they might not extend him. He's not a great defensive guy, but it's just more for the bad. I just don't understand this at all. I was like, you could have built up a better package with prospects, but it's not my call. I'm not the GM, so whatever. Point is, it'll be nice to watch Cavan Biggio, and if there's one team that could turn someone's fortune around, it's the Dodgers. We've seen it with a lot of guys. David Peralta, we saw it with JD Martinez. We saw it again once with freaking Jason Hayward that got himself renewed with us one more year. You see it all the time that guys just come here on one-year deals and manage to find or figure something out with the Dodgers coaching and the Dodgers management, and they end up getting their money's worth next year. So maybe Cavan Biggio pops off from here on out. So June 12th from the rest of the season, I'm going to be looking out for it. But yeah, but the Dodgers should be better. I mean, it's not up for discussion. I don't think 42 and 26 is an accurate representation of what the Dodgers could have been doing this entire year. I'm even just looking back. I mean, you lose that series against Arizona, you get swept by Cincy. Then you resweep, the Mets for that road trip. But it's kind of like, dude, we could have just maybe had 4 out of 6 won instead of 3 out of 3. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't look pretty. I mean, you look at the whole bar grid, or the grid of the bar grid. What the fuck is a bar grid? You look at the bar grid and you're just like, oh, look, it looks nice. And then you have this really big slump and it's super streaky for the Dodgers. And we only had this really nice streak between like late April and early May. Where we took down a bunch of teams and we only lost twice against Arizona and Toronto. But it's just odd. It's very odd for me. But we'll figure it out. I'm sure we will. I do think there's going to be some adjustments made with Mookie Betts. Of course, he's still doing great with his bat. But I'm excited because, this... I think if he's being fully honest with himself and he knows that he's probably not ready to continue to, hold on to that. But on to maybe even worse news, but I guess just a quick segment. We have to obviously talk about the Angels because this is a fair show. We can't just go ahead and ignore what's happening in the organization. Of course, that Mike Trout is still out with an injury. I believe they moved him down to the 10-day IL, so he might be coming back soon. And it will be exciting. I mean, he played 29 games. He played, nearly half of the games, and he was 867 OPS with 10 homers. So at one point, Mike was leading all of Major League Baseball with homers, but now he's kind of behind. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure he still ends up doing great for the rest of the season, but I do think All-Star is 100% out of the question. He must have like this really ridiculous next set of like 20 games before we could really be like, oh yeah, he's ready. But I mean, it's been all right. I'm not even all right. It's been horrible, but 25-41, I'm kind of happy with that. I genuinely take that for the Angels any time of the year. I mean, 25-41, you're 16 or what, like 17 games back, but like I think that's pretty decent on my part for a team that doesn't look like it would be capable of putting up that many amount of runs. But even Oakland is like doing some work too, so they're battling it out for last place with Oakland. So it feels nice that in the AL West there's like this whole bunch of guys that are teams that really aren't like super competitive or even claiming that top spot. Even the Rangers themselves aren't even like a team that's like, they're 31-35. They're struggling to even keep afloat. So are the Mariners. So the whole AL West is like this whole commotion of like the Angels are only 5 back. You know what I mean? From really claiming that first place spot. Plus Tyler Anderson's been crazy. If you guys do follow it, I'll tell you about him right now. But Taylor Ward, someone to point out, I mean, he's been crazy, 12 homers for his season. Mickey Moniak just sliding in, but has not been hitting at all, But defensive guy, that's what you need him for. Joe Adell, same thing, needs to pick up the bat, but can get it done. Willie Calhoun. One person I really want to point out, Cole Tucker. Vanessa Hudgens, man. He started off pretty hot. He's kind of dipped down since. He's just a utility guy. His hitting numbers aren't great, and I don't want to read it because I think people that listen to me are Vanessa Hudgens fans, so I don't want to shit on him. Logan Ahapi, he's been great. Noah Chanwell, I can never pronounce it correctly. He's all right. Brandon Drury, 10-day IL, but he'll be back. Zach Neto, still defensive guy, playing all over, short, second, third, whatever you need him to. He's doing it for the squad, but there's no real big number that pops out of you except Luis Rengifo, and that's exactly who I wanted to touch up on because in 50 games, he's managed to snag himself 56 hits, 4 homers, 18 RBIs, 17 bags that he stole, 12 walks, hitting for a 313, 363 on base, 804 OPS. This guy is nice. 127 OPS plus from that second base position, which we all know that second base position is not anywhere you want to see. Like, I wouldn't say you want to see, but you would typically see power hitters or someone that hits for contact or really decent hitters. Even Andres Jimenez isn't the best hitter, but he still can hit. Jose Altuve is probably one of the few exceptions. But, there's very rare amount of second basemen in the league that can actually, mash and crush his ball. And he's been one of the guys. He's not a big power hitter, but can still get some contact and doing it for this entire Angels franchise right now. So I like the fact that he's actually stepping up. I remember him coming up at a really young age. And now at the age of 27, he's kind of getting his flowers, and you realize that, he's actually pretty fucking good. But one person I do want to talk about is Tyler Anderson, because Anderson has just been, I think it's a little underrated, like how no one's really talking to him. First of all, he's leading the team in WAR with a 3.4 WAR so far throughout the season. Look, in 13 games started, he has 82 innings pitched, only allowed 61 hits, 24 earned runs, 33 walks with 53 Ks. I know it doesn't sound like a pretty slash line, but just the fact that your ERA is at 2.63 with a 1.1 WHIP, I hope you can hear that. That snaps. That snaps for the boy. For you to be starting for this squad, damn, this is the squad behind me that's trying to add some runs up. Hey, you're holding yourself down. 5 wins, 6 losses. It's nice, man. 82 innings pitched within 13. That's nice. That's averaging over 6 innings pitched per outing. This guy's doing it all, man. I think it's impressive. I'm really happy for him. Obviously, we saw him in Dodger Blue not too long ago, like 2 years ago. But Patrick Sandoval got the name of the ace. then everybody was like, okay, it's Griffin Canning. But, no, Tyler Anderson was kind of just brushed off, but now Tyler has just been outstanding. Let's even look at some of his deep numbers, too. I want to see if we can go down to just his actual, like, appearances. Let's see. I want to see if we could get his actual numbers up. But while we do that, I mean, like, it's I gotta imagine it's pretty freaking difficult for him to be here and be like, hey, like, I have to at least pitch up, and you go up there and you understand that you don't have this best team behind you, and I would say it's pretty freaking hard for you to, like, want to go up there and feel like you can actually win this game, but somehow he's always getting it done. Let's see right now, pitching game log. Damn, man, I'm telling you, like, that's his shortest outing was against Boston, 4.1 innings pitched. He gave up 3 earned runs in that one. But throughout his first 2 starts, he didn't give up a single run. The most runs he's given up was 4 against the Pirates. That was May 6th. But since then, I mean, come on. Oh, my goodness, that stretch. Texas, Houston, New York Yankees, and San Diego. Talk about that Houston outing. 8 innings pitched, only give up 6 hits and 1 earned run. I mean, come on, bro. That's money right there. So shout out to Tyler Anderson for doing everything he can. That's a boy right there. That's the man. If you could see whenever he comes back up, I think he might be pitching very soon. Let's see. We can actually look at the game logs. I think it might be tomorrow where he'll be coming up. Let's see. Yeah, Jose Suarez pitched today for the Angels, so more than likely tomorrow, June 13th, he'll be going up. And I'm just kind of ranting at this point, but that's just kind of what I want to touch on. I think Tyler Anderson, Luis Rengifo have been the guys. Mike Trout's supposed to be coming back very soon. Brandon Drury is too, so hopefully they get back on track because they're not that far behind the Texas Rangers from, claiming a spot in second place in the AL West. So, yeah, man, let's just go back into it. So new avenues and shout outs. I wrote that out because I just wanted to kind of just get it out. So we're adding a gaming section to this whole pod thing. I'm also getting a freaking phone call from Stefan right now. It's like horrible timing. So we're gonna end this episode very, very, very soon. But yeah, we're adding a whole gaming section. I do play like games pretty often, and I kind of just want to like have an opportunity just to go out there and just be like, hey, like, I already have a channel for it, but I could just rename it and we'll go ahead and add it on to the links and stuff where, people can just watch me play if you guys are really that bored and you just want to admire me and see my yelling and see how bad I am at video games, but it's fine. But we'll get that done. Of course, I'm really trying to get stuff done. If stuff doesn't come out throughout the week, which I think you saw like that 1 week and a half where like stuff was coming out, it only comes out when like I actually have time throughout the weekend to kind of set up the post where it comes out automatically, like I have it scheduled. But if that doesn't happen, that's just I didn't have time. So it is what it is, but I appreciate you guys just coming out here and listening anyways for the first place. So, I mean, shout out to you guys, all love, and really appreciative that you are even bringing up my numbers because it actually does like matter that you say the whole time. But yeah, anyways, that's it for today. I mean, it's just kind of a little quick rant about both the teams, but anyways, love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Prairie Avenue. Dodgers get Cavan Biggio. Let's see what he does, and we'll see you next time, hopefully soon, for Alonzo's Lane episode. Peace out, guys.